What is going on, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? My name is Prodigy, and welcome to another episode of the Datascape, the newest Kingdom Hearts podcast on the block, with our co-host Noir, Lil Bomber, and me, ProdigyxCD. We're talking about a lot today. Today we're talking about old school versus new school Kingdom Hearts, or as some people like to say, Osaka versus Tokyo Team if you're more on the combat end. But yeah, a lot's going on since the last time we recorded a podcast episode. How are you doing, Noir?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Happy to be recording this episode. So I definitely think the first thing we should talk about when it comes to old school versus new school is at what point are we discussing like old school versus new school as far as like the games go? At what year separates the old school fans from the new school fans?
Well, in terms of fans, they kind of mesh together, but I feel like when it comes to old school Kingdom Hearts, the separation for sure is anything after Kingdom Hearts 2 is definitely like new school Kingdom Hearts. Now that's a pretty broad spectrum of games because for a lot of people that's like peak Kingdom Hearts, that's like Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories, KH2. Some people like to lump in Days in there because Days is kind of a Chain of Memories slash KH2 story. But yeah, those games are definitely like considered the old school Kingdom Hearts, and time keeps going on. So nowadays, like old school is Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance, but to a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans who grew up with the series, been playing since one, who played Kingdom Hearts on the PS2, I guess is a good distinction. Uh, for a lot of people, the new gen of Kingdom Hearts is definitely like Birth by Sleep and After, or Dream Drop and After. KH3 definitely is like newer for a lot of people. But
Entry is definitely new school. Um,
yeah, because like I'd say Remix era might be like a big distinction for Kingdom Hearts fans, because during the Remix era was when a lot of people I feel like came back into Kingdom Hearts, and a lot of new fans came into Kingdom Hearts because they're releasing collections of these games for PS3, especially the PS4 version. So maybe around like mid 2010, so like that time period between 2014 to 2017 when the HD collections were releasing might be where we might draw that line, I guess.
I personally think that at the earliest, new school would start at 2013 with the remixes, and at the latest, Kingdom Hearts 3. Because I
I think
would
that's fair.
say all the games like to Dream Drop Distance, it wasn't Kingdom Hearts wasn't mainstreamed, right? Like you saw commercials, you obviously had fans making videos and everything, so there was obviously that going on for Kingdom Hearts as a whole, but it wasn't mainstreamed the way it was when the remixes came. Because when the remixes came, people could enjoy the entire series with one console, and that's really something that like people don't talk about anymore. But you needed multiple consoles to play all the Kingdom Hearts games. Even starting from when Kingdom Hearts 2, you needed a PS2 and a Game Boy Advance. Um, and then, yeah, they re-released Chain of Memories on the PS2, so you were good with just the PS2 until 358 came out. Then you needed a DS, and then
Yeah,
Birth by Sleep, you needed a PSP, and then Dream Drop, you needed a 3DS, right? So it was this thing of like not that many people were into Kingdom Hearts because of how like separated the types of games were. And so when the remixes came along, it became mainstreamed, and a lot of people obviously could. There was way more potential for streaming and recording the games and having these online discussions and everything about the game. And so I think that's when it really came about, especially when you get to it being re-released on PlayStation 4 along with 2.8 being out, and then that's when the marketing for Kingdom Hearts just was heavier than we had ever seen before. Like there are people seeing Kingdom Hearts 3 trailers and talking about getting the game who've never even played a Kingdom Hearts game before, and frankly, back then that was unheard of.
everything you say is completely true, but there's one thing I'd like to argue against a little bit, and that's the part where you talked about Kingdom Hearts wasn't as mainstream back then. I think defining what was mainstream back then is a little difficult, right? Because obviously you could go by just numbers. And if we're going by just numbers, then Kingdom Hearts was up there. Kingdom Hearts is in the top 10 best-selling PS2 games. And I think Kingdom Hearts 2 isn't far behind at number like 13 or something. Kingdom Hearts has two games that are like in the top like sales for PS2, and that's like one of the highest selling consoles of all time right there. So is that like not mainstream? Because that's pretty good for a niche little Disney game, right? But then you look at the non-numbered titles. You look at Birth by Sleep. You look at Dream Driver. Look at Days, and these games still sold millions of copies. And compared to other like games in those sorts of genres, Kingdom Hearts was doing super well and like competing, if not exceeding, those other games. So I would argue that while Kingdom Hearts might not be mainstream in the sense that it's selling tens of millions, it's on the scale of GTA, Call of Duty, or like obviously your sports games, but I would say like it might be like right below there. Like it's at the if there is something gatekeeping Kingdom Hearts from being mainstream, it's like right there. It's right at the line. It's like it is the distinction between mainstream and maybe like niche. Like I feel like it's like it's in the middle for sure. But another thing I wanted to touch upon to give some context to our viewers a little bit. Why are we discussing old school versus new school Kingdom Hearts? This wasn't just on a whim. To a degree, maybe it was, but this wasn't fully just on the whim. We've had some debates on live stream and on social media, and I've seen some fans like often talking about like old school Kingdom Hearts and not necessarily using that sort of verbiage, but just talking about the old days of Kingdom Hearts when Kingdom Hearts 2 first came out on the PS2, when they first played a game like Birth by Sleep or first played a game like Kingdom Hearts 1, and just that nostalgia, that PS2 nostalgia that a lot of us still like have fond memories of. Compared to nowadays with Kingdom Hearts, and it's a little bit more modernized with Kingdom Hearts 3 and the remixes and so on, Missing Link, and there's a lot of ways you could distinguish what is old school Kingdom Hearts and what's new school Kingdom Hearts. But I think Noir made a good point, and I would say anything after Remix era might be where just a lot of new fans came from for the series. A lot of the newer fans of the series who weren't around before the remixes, before the PS3, who didn't play the games on PS2. I'd say that's a good way to distinguish them. But at the same time, there's also a other way you could distinguish them, and that is by, well, the change in direction, and that is when Kingdom Hearts changed teams from the Tokyo team, who worked on games like Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2, and then the Osaka team or slash Han, who they were kind of like trading Kingdom Hearts games a little bit, who worked on games like Days, games like Recoded, which was Han, and then games like Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance for the Osaka team, and of course Kingdom Hearts 3. And for a lot of people, that's what they called the floaty era of Kingdom Hearts, where the combat got a little floatier, wasn't as snappy as it was with Kingdom Hearts 2, and even to a lot of people, maybe the story and the way they orchestrated events and moments wasn't the same. But still, a lot of people loved those games. Back then, we didn't know that the Osaka team was necessarily the team working on Birth by Sleep and these other games. It was just game to game back then. So I would say there's a little bit of controversy in just the where we decide to distinguish that, because you could do Remix era or you could do Osaka versus Tokyo team. We're going to be talking a little bit about both today. But a question that I wanted to ask Noir is, do you think Kingdom Hearts, and I don't mean in a story way or in a gameplay sort of way, just in a general sense, whatever you interpret out of it, was Kingdom Hearts simpler back then? Back when it was on the PS2, back before all this, I guess, that we have now?
Well, when looking at the story and lore wise, absolutely. Um, because you could more or less explain the entire plot as we knew it for from Kingdom Hearts 1 through 2 like very easily. Um and I think even if you include 358, yeah, it's still like somewhat simple. I think once you hit Dream Drop Distance, that's when the story stops being so simple. Um But as far as gameplay goes, I don't think I don't think there was ever a point where Kingdom Hearts wasn't simple. Or no, there wasn't a point where Kingdom Hearts was simple as far as gameplay
Yeah, I
goes.
think as an action game, Kingdom Hearts has always had a lot of depth in it, but I think that
There
depth
was
gets a
always a lot
little.
of depth. Like like Kingdom Hearts 1 is easily like the simplest game in the series as far as like gameplay goes, but even then there's a
Mechanically.
lot of mechanics in it that like the more you understand about it, like the more the more different the gameplay becomes. I would say it's once you hit Chain of Memories where like because obviously the first game that's like this that's the base, you know, that's like this is the formula we're gonna try, we're gonna see if it works, and then obviously the formula worked, so they're like, okay, let's adapt this for in one situation or another for different gameplays for different games. You know, Chain of Memories had a similar gameplay style to Kingdom Hearts 1, but obviously with the whole card mechanic and being more about strategizing and processing numbers in during a battle than just simply reacting to someone's attack and dodging at the right time. And then Kingdom Hearts 2 had the drive forms and the different different mechanics involving that and the limits. 358 had its whole panel system as well as the limits that were attached during each mission, or I should say like your limit bar that was attached to your health. Birth by Sleep had the command styles and the dlinks.
I think we could
And
definitely say that Kingdom Hearts combat was not like lacking depth. I'd say I don't think there's
yeah,
ever been a point in the series where, regardless of what your preference is when it comes to combat, I don't think there's ever been a point whether you're a fan of Tokyo Team or Osaka Team. I don't even like distinguishing them nowadays because Tokyo Team's not working on Kingdom Hearts at the moment. Like I think some developers come in from the Tokyo Team and like help out Osaka Team, but the Osaka Team is
yeah,
the main team that works on Kingdom Hearts and is likely going to remain the main team going forward for games like Kingdom Hearts 4 and so on at least. But Kingdom Hearts has always had a lot of depth with this combat system, and some people don't realize this because a lot of people they play Kingdom Hearts on whatever difficulty gets them through the story the fastest, whether it be proud, whether it be standard, whether it be beginner, and they base the combat based off of that, which is understandable, you know. Like you don't have
yeah.
to have this super hard level one, you're perfectly timing your blocks and your parries and using your iframes, reflecting at the right times. Like you don't have to play Kingdom Hearts like that
No,
to enjoy it. But
you don't.
and Square knows that. Square knows that they know that their audience, some of them just want to experience the story. So why play Elden Ring when I'm here to find out lore about who Roxas is or who Yozora is, right? Like I want answers to my mysteries, not like fighting for my life just to get the cutscene. And they I feel like do a good job at catering to both. Like I'm glad Kingdom Hearts has this level 1 mode and its critical mode because as much as I'm a big fan of the story, I love me some hard gameplay. And I think Kingdom Hearts, with its combat system, with its depth, has some of the most satisfying gameplay to master. And anyone who's listening to this who hasn't played the games fully, maybe you're a fan who only experiences the story, or that's their main way of enjoying Kingdom Hearts, dive deep into the gameplay. Give it a try. You don't have to like it. You don't have to love it, but just give it a try. Be open minded to it. Don't just fight the boss to try and win or be perfect. Try and just learn the boss fight. And you really do, while doing that, understand just how in depth these systems and these bosses and these just combat mechanics are. But that's my little tangent about Kingdom Hearts combat. I love
So
Kingdom Hearts combat, man. Not
so
only is it
I'd
my
say
favorite series for story, but characters, combat's great too.
I'd say like when it comes to the Kingdom Hearts gameplay, I think it's always been like this since Chain of Memories. It's if you're familiar with the combat of the first game, you already have a working understanding of any other game, and it's just a matter of switching and adapting to which specific game you're playing.
Yeah, I agree. So I would ask you actually, uh, if you're like a person who like you know cares about this sort of thing, do you like Osaka Team or Tokyo Team more? Like, well, what is your preference with combat, or how would you just what is your interpretation of both of them and like the divisiveness in the fan base that there used to be between both of the teams?
Woo. Wow. When it comes to Osaka, I have definitely had a variety of feelings about them throughout the years.
Right.
I'd say with the game that I praise them the most for, easily Kingdom Hearts 3. Um,
Oh
the
yeah.
game that I criticize them the most for, Dream Drop Distance. Because when it comes to Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, those are the two games made by the Tokyo team.
Yeah.
Their gameplay was definitely more, it was less flashy and more heavy, if that makes any sense.
For Tokyo Team?
So yes, so
I feel like
obviously
Tokyo Team was pretty flashy with
the
KH2,
Tokyo
I'd
team
say.
was
But
definitely
waited.
flashy. I'm not saying that. They're the same team that made Final Fantasy 15. Okay, they know flashy. Um, but they, how do I put this? In my opinion, when it came to the gameplay between like say Kingdom Hearts 2 versus Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep or Kingdom Hearts 3. Now I just want to preface this. Kingdom Hearts 3 is my favorite in the series. I love Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm not bashing it. Um, but the gameplay in 2, while it had its flashiness, cared more about uh consistent heavy gameplay and not so much showmanship or spectacle in a sense.
Yeah, I'd say so. I would say they still cared about spectacle and they were flashy at the time, but in comparison to Kingdom Hearts 3, like I would definitely say like KH3 does the spectacle thing a lot more. But if you're comparing it to other Osaka games, I don't think Birth by Sleep or Dream Drop are like super duper flashy. I mean, they definitely have their like things, but to a lot of people, Kingdom Hearts has a flashy combat system. Period. Like Kingdom Hearts has a very heavy emphasis on magic and effects and like cool situations and parries and sound design in their boss fights, and that's been a thing throughout the entire series. And Tokyo Team, I think you could say, had like a good blend of like all of it. But one thing I would say about Tokyo Team versus Osaka Team is that Osaka did pretty good for their first console game. Like, maybe it's not on par with Kingdom Hearts 2 for sure for a lot of people. I love Kingdom Hearts 3. I personally think it is, but maybe for some people it's not on par with Kingdom Hearts 2. But I would definitely say it's better than Kingdom Hearts 1's combat, or like definitely a decent bit above that. Maybe competes. Remind definitely competes with KH2. But
Absolutely.
Osaka did a good job for their first console game because beforehand their only console experience was with the remixes pretty much, and before the remixes were basically remastering Tokyo Team's games. Before the remixes, it was Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop on PSP and 3DS. I
They
wonder,
also made Rechain. They also made Rechain.
yeah, Rechain as well, and I wonder what the impression of Osaka Team would have been if Birth by Sleep came out on console like they kind of wanted it to, like in the very, very early stages of development. Because if you go back and look at early Birth by Sleep footage, you can kind of see that a lot of stuff is different, even in the combat, like in the command menu and the way it works, the command deck and the way it works. I'm pretty sure you're able to cancel your commands a little more smoothly from the looks of it in Birth by Sleep when they had that like PS2 footage of it in like the first trailer. I don't know. Like I think the handheld consoles definitely maybe had some restrictions with them, but end of the day, like I'm just hoping that when it comes to a soccer team, that KH4 is the best it can be, and KH4 does go beyond what KH2 did for a lot of people. I think Osaka team does a very good job at like experimenting and at having a sort of more free form style combat. As much as I love how Tokyo Team commits to one thing and then does that one thing super well, like with the dry forms and like with the resource management. And with Kingdom Hearts 2 is a little bit more like linear level design and like battle system. I think that Osaka Team does a good job on the other end and having just this really free, you can do whatever you want sort of combat feeling. Like I can air step across the screen if I want to. I can hold three form changes at once. I have this attraction flow. I don't know, you just have so many things at your disposal in Osaka games, which is probably why they're not as balanced. But it's also what makes them so fun. And I think what they really should touch up on is in Remine, they definitely did a good thing in making some bosses that took advantage of their more freeform combat system. Bosses that utilize the mechanics a lot better rather than just, okay, I can do whatever the heck I want. Bosses that forced you to use air step to kind of punish their attacks, or bosses that forced you to kind of explore things like parry frames, explore things like critical guard timing. I don't know, just a lot of things. I really like that about Remine, and I think as long as they improve off of Remine, Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be a game for the books, man.
I think I think one of the biggest things when it comes to the gameplay, because I know you were talking about like the freeform gameplay, because and this is obviously the tricky, uh, or I say the hot button word in the community when it comes to the gameplay, floatiness.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the issue with Kingdom Hearts' floatiness in the past was they tried too hard to make the gameplay centered around being near the ground, but the game was too floaty. I mean, when you think about Birth by Sleep, um, most commands, if you try to use them in the air, it would just shove you down to the ground.
Yeah.
Which
Same
that
with D-Links. You can't even activate a D-Link in the air.
yeah, and to me that was just weird. So like I think they really understood what to do in Kingdom Hearts 3, because not only did they tone down the floatiness a lot, but they made their bosses, especially in Remind, more catered to the floaty combat. So you weren't really punished
Yeah,
for jumping.
I think some like big figures in the community agree that floatiness was never like the proper term to go after back then. Of course, you still hear it nowadays because it was like a trendy term back then, and it was the buzzword back then, and for a lot of people, it's still the word they use now. But what people really mean when they say the word floatiness is they really mean lag. Like in Birth by Sleep, there's a lot of lag in doing aerial moves. There's a lot of, it's very slow. It doesn't feel good. It takes 9 million years to do an air combo. When Aqua like goes into the air in Birth by Sleep, it feels like I'm just drifting in like space for 9 million years before my next attack comes out. And that's something in Kingdom Hearts 2, even in Kingdom Hearts 1, and especially in Kingdom Hearts 3, you don't really feel. Kingdom Hearts 3, the only criticism I'd give its floatiness is that Kingdom Hearts 3 does have like a little bit of a landing lag thing, but what Kingdom Hearts 3 did that a lot of the other floatier Kingdom Hearts games didn't do is Kingdom Hearts 3 used its floatiness to its advantage and made Sora just as good in the air as he was on the ground. In other Kingdom Hearts games, you're kind of at a disadvantage if you're in the air. Even though they wanted you to do aerial combat in Kingdom Hearts 1, doing air combos is significantly faster than doing ground combos. In Kingdom Hearts 2, air combos are just really powerful and you get a lot more out of your attacks being in the air. But despite that, in Kingdom Hearts 2, after you finish your combo, you have to land back on the ground because the opponent retaliates while you're in the air. It's going to be a little rough for you. Yeah, you could do Trinity, you could do Reflect, but aside from those two things, which use MP, you don't really have that many options. In Kingdom Hearts 3, you could do everything in the air that you can do on the ground, and then some. So it's like there's no distinction. Sora's good in the air, Sora's good on the ground. It's Kingdom Hearts 3, you're a jack of all trades, and I love that about KH1. I want Kingdom Hearts to stay that way personally. Maybe add a little more weight to your abilities or to your hits and stuff, like add a little bit more gravity. Like I don't think Sora should just stop falling like when he does an aerial hit, but I didn't mind it that much. So
Yeah, I think
I
that's one
hope
of the
they
main
do
things
that in
when it
4.
comes to the quote unquote floatiness is that anything you do in the air that was allowed in the air would basically stop you completely. So Sora felt like he had no like him and other characters, they felt like they had no weight
No
when you
gravity,
were
pretty much.
when you were doing that, right? But if you look at especially Kingdom Hearts 1 gameplay, it didn't matter what you were doing. If you were in the air, you were descending.
Yeah, I
Um
think Kingdom Hearts 1's a little too weighty though. Like I would, a lot of people, that's a criticism for them. I love Kingdom Hearts 1 combat, but I don't want to go back to Kingdom Hearts 1 in terms of how weighty they are. I think Kingdom Hearts 2 is like the perfect like feeling for air combat for sure.
Oh, I think one of my biggest issues with the weight in Kingdom Hearts 1 is that uh if you were doing something in the air but you were too close to the ground, landing would cancel it. Right. So like let's say you were trying to do a life-saving cure, but you were too close to the ground. Sora could it
Oh
him landing
yeah.
would cancel it and then it would just leave you completely open.
That's happened to me so many times, dude, in Kingdom Hearts 1. Dude, especially, okay, this was a very common thing, and this is a little bit for the old school KH fans. Very common thing to happen in vanilla, because in vanilla Kingdom Hearts 1, when I say vanilla Kingdom Hearts 1, I'm talking about the OG PS2 version, or just the PS2 version of the game, period, not Final Mix. Uh, you had no leaf bracer, so jumping to do cure was a pretty common thing you would try to do because a lot of enemies wouldn't hit you in the air, so you tried to jump away from them and try
Also,
to
you
cast
did
a
it
cure, and then you
faster
would
in the air.
land, and the cure wouldn't activate, so you're just dead. So yeah, that would
You,
happen a lot.
you also perform magic faster in the air.
I believe so.
Um
Yeah, you definitely do
so
in KH1.
so it just made more sense to jump and also like when it came to like games like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, um parrying was definitely, especially Kingdom Hearts 1, parrying was like such a big part of the gameplay.
I love that.
So like because obviously there was no guard in the air and the guard in Kingdom Hearts 1 wasn't as reliable as it is in future titles. So if you wanted to really do well against an enemy, but you had to disrupt their attack, you were parrying. You learned to parry.
Yeah, you definitely had to. I mean, I love pairing in Kingdom Hearts 1. I love the tech point system. I want that to come back personally. They had it in Kingdom Hearts 3 trailers, like in early KH3 trailers, but it's not in the game anymore. I guess they realized there wasn't really a point to it in Kingdom Hearts 3. Shoot, can you imagine how much easier 3 would have been at launch if they also gave you XP for just finishing a combo or just tech points? Like,
You would be way over leveled.
yeah, I understand why they took that out in retrospect. They were probably like, yeah, you level up too fast right now. I think in KH3, the reason that game was so easy at launch is because they wanted you to experience everything. They didn't want you to not experience attraction flows. They didn't want you to not experience like form changes. So they scaled everything up. They made you get form changes so fast. They made you get attraction flow in like so many fights, even in fights where honestly attraction flow shouldn't have been there. Uh, they made Link super broken. Like I don't know. Like KH3,
Link fully restored your HP at the time. You
yeah.
were unkillable during
They
attractions,
still
and
restore HP
attractions
on
also
crit, I
a
believe.
heavy
Just not as
damage.
much. I'm sorry.
Huh?
I said I think they restore HP on crit too, just not as much.
Yeah, they only restore like half.
Yeah.
Which is that honestly like I think that's better for something that Bloody Biscuits talked about. Because if you guys don't know Bloody Biscuits, he's a big name in the gameplay aspect of the Kingdom Hearts community. I think he's a speedrunner. He's definitely made videos about the combat in Kingdom Hearts games. And
Alright, the
one thing that he
cage
talked
talks. We
about,
love the cage talks.
so one thing he had talked about in one video that really stuck with me is he talked about decision making. Because decision making is a big part of basically any game and what makes a game a game. So it's all up to a decision, especially with an RPG, on do I use this thing that'll give me this, or do I use this thing that'll give me that, right? So when it came to like say Kingdom Hearts 2, do you give up your MP to pull off a magic spell or to cure yourself, or do you use your MP to use a limit and you'll be invincible and you do heavy damage, but you won't be healing yourself uh, during that time. You'll still be at 1 HP. So when it came to, and there has to be like some sort of cost aspect with the decision.
Yeah.
That way, like no decision is just the easiest one to make. Because at the time, if you wanted to cure in Kingdom Hearts 3, like when it first came out, it just made more sense to use a link. Because yeah, it required a full MP bar, but if you had it, then why would I just cure myself and I'm immediately open right afterwards when I can use a link, be unkillable, and be doing heavy damage? Um, so now with critical mode, it only restores half your HP. So now it's a choice of, do I sacrifice having a full HP bar in order to do some damage, or do I just not do any damage at all and give myself the full HP bar?
Yeah, I think on crit, it definitely made Lynx a little more risky, but even then, I think Lynx and KH3 are just absurdly broken, like, period. No matter what difficulty you're on, if you're on level 1, they're broken. If you're on critical mode, they're broken. If you're on any other difficulty aside from those two, they are beyond broken. Like, I think Lynx and KH3 are one of my least favorite mechanics in the entire series, and this is coming from someone who loves Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3 has my favorite combat system in the entire series, for various reasons, and Remind just added like more fuel to the fire for me. Like, I loved KH3, but Lynx suck because it's everything that I don't like about a Kingdom Hearts mechanic. It's too easy of a mechanic, it's too broken of a mechanic, and there's no depth to them. Like, Kingdom Hearts 2, I think, is the best game that does summons. Like, Kingdom Hearts 2 has the best summon system. D-Link's a little after that in Birth by Sleep, but I don't know if you'd call that a summon system. But KH2's summon system are so good because it has a lot of utility, it has a lot of depth, and like there's different uses for different summons. Like for Stitch, you get an infinite MP bar. Basically, you can still attack. It's a little powerful, but like still, you have to trade off using summons for drive forms. You can't use both. It takes up your gauge. In Kingdom Hearts 3, it only taking up the MP bar in a game where ethers and elixirs are like everywhere. Like you can just buy ethers, spam summons.
For the cost of a McChicken.
Huh?
Ethers are like the cost of a McChicken.
Pretty much. And like, to be honest, ethers are like that in other Kingdom Hearts games too. Like, you can get an ether in any Kingdom Hearts game pretty easily, but in Kingdom Hearts 3, you definitely get the most value out of it because magic's just insanely broken in Kingdom Hearts 3. It's broken in every Kingdom Hearts game, but it's beyond broken in Kingdom Hearts 3. And links are the perfect example of that because all the links do is damage. Like, there's not a single Kingdom Hearts game aside from 3 where every summon, every D-Link, like everything in KH3 does damage. Well, I guess Dream Drop does as well. Dream Drop, all the links do damage, but I wouldn't say the links are that damaging in Dream Drop. They're kind of like, they're there. They're not as damaging as Balloon or any other abilities you could probably do. They're just kind of, they're fun to look at. That's the part of it in Dream Drop that's cool. But oh my gosh, man! I'm sorry to keep being on this topic. They're bad.
The only Dream Link that I can think of, or Dream Links that I can think of, that add a different sort of utility, is Rising Wing for Riku, and the like the dice Dream Link for Sora with like the R&R seal.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like you're gambling with Sora's, and Riku's, it gives you wings and the ability to like kind of float in the air. But yeah, I honestly like
the system better. I see Riku's are a lot more similar to form changes. I feel like
they are.
They're fun form changes though.
They're built like the command styles from Birth by Sleep, except there was no like finisher that you can use, which honestly they probably should have added. It definitely would have made it 1,000 times better.
And even then, they required a whole separate resource. Like they were their own resource rather than being tied to like anything else, right?
Yeah,
so in a way, it kind of made them not spammable at all.
No, it was tied to a link gauge which were tied to your dream meters, and there were only three ways to increase the link gauge. Uh, every time your dream meter takes damage, it goes up. Every time you attack an enemy at the same time as your dream meter, the link gauge would go up. Or if you use dream candies, which are not that easy to get.
They aren't that easy to get. They're not.
So if you were using that, like, you knew that you were going to be using it again for a while.
So something I wanted to talk about, because this became a big combat podcast. We love talking about combat though, so we'll probably get many more of these for sure. But something I want to talk about. Another thing that sparked this video was I uploaded a video recently to my channel where I just kind of vented about something with old school Kingdom Hearts games that I experienced. And this is more so talking about the personal experience, not like the community, broader spectrum sort of thing. But something I miss about being a kid experiencing Kingdom Hearts compared to now being a creator is I miss when worlds were surprises. Like, it was a surprise seeing Atlantica, Nightmare Before Christmas, Tarzan, these other worlds in Kingdom Hearts 1. It was a surprise to see in Kingdom Hearts 2. It was a surprise to see, like, Tron, Return, and Dream Drop Distance. It's... Nowadays, we know every world that comes to a Kingdom Hearts game. Like, I'm confident that when Kingdom Hearts 4 drops, we're probably going to see and know every single world that's in that game. And because why wouldn't you? Like, this was technically the case for Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 back in the day, but what I'm saying here is that we weren't in a social media age where you could look at a Kingdom Hearts fan on the street and say, ask them if they've watched every trailer. Nowadays, a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans watch every single trailer, and that's because, like, we want to be in the hype. We want to be in the know. We want to... We don't want to miss out on, like, any talks or discussions with our community. We're sacrificing that experience for, like, community talks with the fans. But I do kind of miss it, though. And I'm not... This isn't even me saying, like, I don't like what it's like now, because I can live with knowing every world, right? But it's just something to think about. Like, worlds used to be surprises. Like, the next Disney movie in a KH game was like a big surprise while you were playing the game, as you landed, like as the gummy ship would fly up onto the world and you'd see that world, you'd be like, whoa, what is this? And then you see freaking Tarzan, you're popping up like, oh my gosh, that's I don't know, that was such a surreal moment as a kid. I love that.
I think what Square needs to do moving forward is just not show every world.
They're going to, though, because why wouldn't you? Like, why would you not advertise Star Wars as a
I get it's part of the marketing, right? And obviously the bigger world, you can do that, right? Because obviously that's what's going to get people excited, right? Because the hype for Kingdom Hearts definitely went up when we found out that Toy Story was going to be in Kingdom Hearts. And that was definitely a big thing.
And as much as people might not want to admit it, do you know how many little kids probably bought Kingdom Hearts because of Frozen? Like,
yeah,
let's be real here.
I'd rather not talk about that.
Even if that world wasn't that good, like, do you know how many people probably got the game because they saw Elsa and Anna in it? Like, that's a big deal.
There's a person out there that bought Kingdom Hearts 3, made it all the way to Let It Go in the Frozen world, and then just stopped playing. And
there's probably
that grinds my gears.
There's parents who don't know what their kids want for Christmas and know that they like Disney and they buy them KH3 because it has Disney on it. Like, that's a thing that happens. So, like,
that's more or less how I got into Kingdom Hearts in a weird way.
That's probably how a lot of people watching this got into Kingdom Hearts if they didn't go out of their way themselves. Like, some of you probably liked Disney as a kid and your parents maybe got you Kingdom Hearts because it had Disney on it. You saw Disney on the cover. Or maybe you got into Kingdom Hearts because you saw a cool looking, like, kid with a Keyblade. For me, I got into Kingdom Hearts not for any of those reasons. I got into Kingdom Hearts by chance, but it definitely appealed to me that it had Disney in it. Like, I liked Kingdom Hearts a lot because of Disney. My parents, I got Kingdom Hearts because my dad, this is the way the story was told to me. I don't know if it's accurate, but my dad had a friend in the military who grounded his son and sold all his PS2 games. Sucks to be that kid. But my dad was the one who bought all the PS2 games for like a really cheap price, right? Because we had a PS2. Kingdom Hearts was one of those games, and Kingdom Hearts was a game that I would watch like my parents play on the couch. We would have these like little sit downs, like bonding moments as a family. We would just play a game on the couch. A lot of you probably did that with like Wii Sports and stuff back then too. I did that as well. Kingdom Hearts was one of those like couch games I play with my family, and I remember, man, I could not get past Traverse Town for the life of me. Traverse Town took so long to get past. Like, I could not beat Guard Armor. I sucked. I was so bad as a kid. I saw that, like, Donald and Goofy meetup scene so many times, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, it's Donald and Goofy. I love Donald and Goofy growing up. I mean, what kid doesn't like Donald and Goofy? But still, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, old school Kingdom Hearts definitely has this nostalgic feeling to it. It's definitely nostalgia. Like, I love new Kingdom Hearts. I love Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3 is great. Birth by Sleep is great. Dream Drop is great. I love those games. But man, Kingdom Hearts 1, like me reminiscing over Kingdom Hearts 1, I love KH1. I love KH1. I love KH2, man. Those games are so good. I miss them. I miss my first experiences with them, rather.
Let's see. Honestly, another thing about old school versus new school is did we talk about release frequency yet?
We have not, actually. That's something we should transition into, yeah.
Because we definitely had it good back in the old school when it came to release frequency.
We didn't realize it, but we definitely did.
We had it good.
And we're talking pre-remix era for the most part, right?
Yes, because Nomura was like, let's push a Kingdom Hearts game out every year. And that started, honestly, it started with Rechain. So Rechain was released in 2008, 358 in 2009, BBS in 2010, Recoded in 2011, and DDD in 2012. If we include Rechain, that's 5 consecutive years of just getting Kingdom Hearts games.
Shit, we got even in the 2010s, even though a lot of them were re-releases, like, while we were waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3, we were kind of spoiled too. Yeah, we waited for KH3 for a while, but think about this. We got Final Mix finally in the US. You know how long, like, I was on the Kingdom Hearts forums back then. You know how long we were, like, waiting for Final Mixes to come to the US? That was a big thing. People wanted
that was a huge thing.
Like, in 2013, when they announced that Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix would finally be coming to the US, to other countries, it was a big deal, man. That happened in 2013. In 2014, we got Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, an even bigger Final Mix experience coming.
BBS Final Mix as well.
And then I don't think we got anything in 2015, if I remember. No, we got Unchained Key in 2015, didn't we? At the end of 2015? Or am I tripping?
Unchained Key was in 2015.
2016 was supposed to be 2.8, but that would be delayed to early January.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think goes a little bit of a lull period. I mean, you could technically count things. Like, we got a Union Cross expansion, I believe, in 2017, which basically...
Yeah, it was rebranded to Union Cross.
That basically was a new game at the time, to be honest, because Unchained Key and Union Cross are very different from one another in terms of what
also, let's not forget that Kingdom Hearts 3 was originally supposed to come out in 2018.
Yeah, so even, like, while waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3, we borderline got yearly Kingdom Hearts content, and we took it for granted. Now, admittedly, I would argue that the yearly content we got after the remixes wasn't as, like, crazy, right, as, like, Birth by Sleep or Dream Drop and stuff, but it was still something, right? But before the remix era, like you said, and I would even go farther back, like, while it wasn't full on yearly, at most we'd wait like a year for another Kingdom Hearts title. Like, shoot, after Kingdom Hearts 1, it wasn't that long till Chain of Memories came out. What, Chain of Memories, I forget the official release date. Was it like 04, I think, for Chain of Memories? I don't quite remember. I'm gonna be
Chain of
honest.
Memories was 04.
It was 04, yeah. So 04 for Chain of Memories. Kingdom Hearts 2 was 2005/6, depending on what country you lived in. And then after that, Noir, like Noir said, with Rechain, Days, Coded, BBS, Dream, like Kingdom Hearts was pumping out games, man. And
We were eating.
now, in the new era of KH, the new school Kingdom Hearts, we don't have it as good anymore. And I know everyone wants to preach patience and all that stuff. I get it. I preach it as well.
Be patient. Screw that.
Be patient, okay? Because at the end of the day, gaming's rough right now. Like y'all know what's going on with the economy and the gaming world. Like the gaming world is getting hit. Like games are costing way too much money. Games are taking 6 to 7 years to make for AAA games. Gaming is in a rough spot right now. And it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets a lot better. So right now, to compare it, Kingdom Hearts 4, last 2 years, what have we gotten? Nothing. What have we gotten since Melody of Memory?
Nothing.
We got nothing. I mean, okay, so let's go through the timeline after Melody of Memory released. Melody of Memory released at the end of 2020. 2020 was a good year, though. Like, that was a good year. We got a lot. We got a major Union Cross. We got some major Union Cross story that year. We got Remind. We got Melody of Memory. Like, we had a lot of things in 2020, but still, Kingdom Hearts fans were eating during COVID for sure. 2021, Union Cross ended. Then shortly after that, we were in a lull period until the 20th anniversary event where Missing Link and KH4 was announced and Dark Road was announced to finish. So Dark Road finished in... Oh yeah, Dark Road did come out, I think, in 2020 as well. Dark Road finished in 2022. And I think that was about it. Since Dark Road finished, we haven't had anything. We haven't had a new Missing Link trailer. We haven't had a new Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer. Since Dark Road finished in August of 2022, we have gotten zip. So other fan bases are looking at Kingdom Hearts fans right now like, bruh, really? Y'all have to wait 2 years? That's insane. I have to wait like 5 years for my game. I'm part of the FGC. I understand the idea of waiting like years for other games. I'm not completely ignorant to that fact. But regarding Kingdom Hearts, it is a little slow. Like, we got used to some content.
I'd say one big thing that I wanted to talk about that we had discussed a little bit earlier, that the newer Kingdom Hearts fans just don't realize is, like, the versions of Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and Birth by Sleep that we all know and are familiar with, and obviously like some of our most favorite aspects of those games, we didn't have for a long time. Because Nomura was like, I doubt international players will want to buy the same game twice, even if we add like some cool stuff in the re-release. So there were a lot of people who never experienced any Final Mix stuff until it was re-released on PS3 and PS4. And I know for me personally, I was desperate to get Final Mix.
Oh yeah,
I was desperate to get Final
bro,
Mix.
if it never came to the US, I probably would have imported it at some point. 100%.
Yes. I definitely had thoughts of importing it too. So, and honestly, like, and I know this might sound like a bold claim, but a lot of what people like about Kingdom Hearts 2 came from Final Mix. Right? So, like, a lot of the cooler aspects of Kingdom Hearts 2 that a lot of people love, you know, the data battles, Lingering Will, Limit Form, and honestly, like, the Cavern of Remembrance, all that stuff was Final Mix exclusive. If you had the regular base Kingdom Hearts 2, oh my god, you had almost, like, in my opinion, you had almost no post-game content.
Yeah,
You
I'm
had
not.
you had the tournaments at Olympus, but once you reached level 99, you were broken, and you had a one-time Sephiroth fight.
Kingdom Hearts 2 also had the easy problem too as well. Like a lot of people don't think about that with KH3 because Kingdom Hearts 2 back in the day, people like to argue it nowadays because I know some newer Kingdom Hearts fans or people who just weren't super deep into the community like before the remixes. Like a big thing with Kingdom Hearts 2 back then was triangle to win. That was the meme with Kingdom Hearts 2.
That
Kingdom Hearts
was the
2
meme.
press triangle to win. And it's because that meme derives from people playing base Kingdom Hearts 2 on Proud. If you even played it on Proud. Some people probably just played KH2 for the first time on Standard, right? That was before, like, playing games on the hardest difficulty was, like, kind of part of gaming culture. I feel like nowadays you're kind of shunned on the internet if you don't play the games on the harder difficulty. Which, yin and yang, you know? Like, there's goods and bads to that. I don't think anyone should ever be shunned for playing a game the way they want. But don't play a game on the easiest difficulty and then call it easy. But with Kingdom Hearts 2, that meme derived from people playing Kingdom Hearts 2 on Proud or easier difficulties and mashing triangle because like you kind of could mash triangle on most fights in the game and kind of win. Well, I would argue that a little bit. You know, like I don't like some bosses are definitely not mashing triangle unless you're fighting Zaldin, but like Kingdom Hearts 2, a lot of bosses had these moments where like you would press triangle and you would get an instant punish, right? You would press triangle and it would stagger them and it would like it would do damage something, right? Like reaction commands did a lot in base KH2 and it does a lot in critical mode as well, but the difference is you're getting one shot on critical mode if you don't get that punish, you know what I mean? Enemies are a lot more aggro on that difficulty mode. But yeah, base KH2 had no dodge roll, no limit form. Triangle to win was the meme. It was probably as easy, if not a little, like a tiny bit harder than base KH3 was. Like base KH2, KH1 is probably a lot better than base KH2. Maybe not a lot better, but it might be better low key.
In my opinion,
Maybe
yes.
not the story.
Obviously not story, but when it came to gameplay, absolutely.
Gameplay, yeah, because KH1 got a lot of buffs off of Final Mix as well. Mostly with what's it called? What am I saying? Mostly with air combat or ground combat. Like you got things like slap shot, you got things like sliding dash.
Also, in Final Mix, they had to balance out some things in Kingdom Hearts 2 because they were just too broken. Like Reflect, people think Reflect is like strong now. You should have seen Reflect in base Kingdom Hearts 2. You were murdering people with Reflega, and there was also like this weird. I don't know if you can call it a glitch, but if you performed Trinity on an organization fight, it would basically, no matter what point health they were, it would kill them.
Yeah.
Like it would continuously go, and because it wasn't technically hitting their revenge value, it would just keep hitting them until they died.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna have to end this episode off here because unfortunately I do have to go. But this was a very, very fun episode. Talking about the combat, talking about old school versus new school Kingdom Hearts. Thank you. Shout out to all the patrons who are following and subscribing to the Patreon. I forget the terminology for Patreon, but yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Noir, for coming out, being the co-host for today's episode. We're going to be back very soon. Very, very soon. But until then, my name is Prodigy.
I'm Nora Low Bomber.
And we will see you guys soon. Peace out, you guys. Bye.